Hey, what's going on? Yeah, it's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing the squad, of course. A lot of people have been asking me for my take on Pendulum Magicians actually since February the 5th, the ban list. People have been asking me, what's my build? What am I doing with it? If you guys did not know, throughout the entire duration of my Yu-Gi-Oh career, I'd never ever played a meta deck before. I've never played what's relevant. I've been a rogue player faithfully for, if you add up 2018, 2002, 16 years. I've played just pure rogue. And this was like one of the very few meta decks in a long time that's like crossed my eye and made me interested to play it. So I like tweaked it a lot, and I wanted to get it to that point where it does the same thing every time it doesn't break. So you might see a couple cards in here that you don't agree with, and then ratios that you might not agree with. But through strenuous playtesting, this is what has been most successful for me. We're gonna go over main, extra side, all that good stuff. But yeah, like I'm just so proud to be able to present this list because I wanted to come correct. I know a lot of people have been asking for it, and I just didn't want it to showcase it until I knew that I had found my formula, and I got a good recipe for this right now. So starting off the main deck, we're playing 3 Astrograph Sorcerer and 3 Chronograph Sorcerer. We play 3 copies of Mythical Beast Cerebrus. So with these 9 cards, these are your starter cards. Something that I noticed, which is a major problem with a lot of Pendulum Magician decks, is they're playing too many starter cards. And the thing is, when you're building a good deck, you want to have an equal balance between your high-level combos and your mid-level combos. It's always nice to have a cute little hold me down for one turn combo too, but every single play should not waste so much of your resources that if your opponent breaks your board, you don't have enough for a follow-up play. So I think mid-level combos are always great to start off, especially when you don't know what deck you're playing against and you don't know how it's able to break the board. But I've been noticing like almost every Pendulum Magician list plays like 1,000,000 cards and makes Electrum. But like the thing is, once you make your Electrum, you need other cards that actually can finish things off. And what they're basically doing is just trying to summon 3 Electrums and like try their hardest to like make this board that's not supposed to be broken. And I don't really think that's correct. So for my deck, I just wanted to play a little bit over 1/4 of the starter cards and then leave the other 3/4 of my deck to the mid-level combos, the high-level combos that I told you about. And just add in more ways to do better things and still consistently distribute out a decent board every turn. Not like, spit out my whole extra deck, waste all my Electrums, and go through every resource, and then board gets broken, you can't do anything, right? So I don't really like that. And then we play 1 Jackal King and 1 Basilisk. So with the Master Cerebrus package, normally there's a 3 of this and then 2 Jackal Kings, right? Or some people even do the 3-2-1. For this list, I'm just doing 3-1-1. I really like the Jackal King a lot. Like, it's good to get multiples on the field. And that was something that I also noticed. And honestly, I was playing this card at 2 until like I opened up with it too many times. And like it could have been Pendulum Summon, but like opening up with it in my hand actually like kind of threw off like my whole like jam, everything I had going on for myself. So like I was like, I just got really mad and I cut it down to 1. So I've been testing it out at 1. It's really, really good. I think the only reason why you would want to play 2 is for when you could theoretically spit 2 out on the field. But that rarely happens. So we're just doing the 3-1-1. And these are just, your starter cards like Cerebrus, Astrograph, and Chronograph all help to make your Electrum. And then honestly, like the best engine in the deck is low-key like the Supreme King engine. So this engine is insane for so many different reasons. Of course, like everybody says, it's the normal summon that replaces Joker. This card searches out your gate 0. He's level 7, great synergy with the deck, right? But his best effect is his scale effect. I was testing this deck today at Senpai's, right? Playing against David Flores from Team Lockdown, and we like, we went in on each other, right? And also like when you're playing going second with this card, right? Like this is where it's the most like clutch ever. When you're playing going second through all these different negates that your opponent has, people sleep on this card's scale effect, right? Like if you have a way to have, like if you drew Harmonizing or had a way to just get her through your turn, if you're playing through your opponent's board and you play through like 3 or 4 of their negates, as long as you leave this 1 card in your hand and just a Harmonizing, you can literally make a play off of just these 2 cards. Like you can play through your opponent's negates, right? You're like, dang, I got 2 cards left in hand, but I baited their negates. You'll literally scale Darkworm, use Darkworm, scale to 0. It's a 1 card scale. Pendulum Summon Harmonizing from your hand, and you make your Raigeki break their board and kill them. It's like so savage. Like this is literally like a 1 card combat. Like this helps you to play so powerfully going second. This allows you to break any board as long as you have the resources to bait, which every card in this deck is good. Every card is a good bait. Like if they don't negate it, it's a problem for them. So like this Dark Worm is insane. Gate 0 is just really, really good. I like this package. Wouldn't cut it. It's another way to make Electrum as well. And it's just a great normal summon. Like this package is so powerful, man. Like all they sleeping on him going second. Like that's how I've been using him a lot. His skill effect when I'm playing going second. Because I haven't been very lucky with dice rolls lately. Then for the Magicians, we play 3 Harmonizing. She's low-key like the best one, but like they're all good. 3 Black Fangs. His effect comes up a lot second turn. Like first turn setup, second turn you're just killing with him. Especially like Masterpiece, you play him in the scale as a spell. Use him as a spell to cut Masterpiece in half, and you just attack over him with one of your little guys. Really strong. Purple Poison. I still like him at 3. I understand like people have their reasons for playing like 2 of the card. I feel like if a card like this solves a vast majority of the problems that this deck has, why would you not play 3 of the Problem Solver? Because you need to search it out or draw it like in some way, shape, or form. And if you can't search it, like playing it at 3 is really smart because you'll open up with it. You know, you have a high probability of opening up with your 3-ofs. So 3 Purple Poison. This might throw you off, but we're playing 1 Oath Dragon. You could play 2. You could even play 3. You could totally net deck ARG Berry. That's totally fine. It's up to you. But this list, like I said, I built it according to my playstyle and what I thought worked for me. And so far, I've had the most success with this. And these are just the 1-of Magicians. 1 Oath, 1 Stargazer, 1 Time Gazer. This card has applications on field. Not in scale, but on field. Like, the scale effect is a lot better. Like, this is just... Time Gazer is just a lot better than Stargazer in general, but they're necessary 1-ofs that you gotta play if you're trying to maximize the value of your graph sorcerers, obviously. And then another cool thing is my deck actually plays hand traps, right? A lot of the Pendulum Magician decks don't really play hand traps. So here's my lineup that I opted to do. I played 2 Ash Blossoms and 2 Droll and Lockbirds. My thing was Pendulums do indeed, like I agree that they do brick when you draw 1 too many hand traps. Like 1 is enough. 2, that means the other 3 cards in your hand that better be godly, right? Like they better be godly cards. So I was like, I can't really play 3 and 3, right? But I was like, I don't want to just play 1 hand trap and be limited to just that 1 ability. Like I was thinking about just minting 3 Drolls. Then I thought to myself, Ash is still insane. They say Ash is bad in the mirror, right? I think that's incorrect because ashing Chronograph, Astrograph, Mythical Beast Cerberus, or the Dragon Shrine or the Foolish Burial, you can potentially stop them from making Electrum. And if they still have the Electrum, that means they have to have a follow-up being another card that makes Electrum. And at that point, you know for sure that they can't make 2 Electrums versus, they can't make, 2 or 3 versus, like, what they would have actually made if you didn't have the Ash. And also, ashing Reincarnation and the Trickstar matchup is insane. Like, you gotta main Ash. I feel like if you're not maining Ash, you're playing incorrectly because 90% or 100% of your matchups are not all gonna be Pendulum Magicians. Believe it or not, this format's very diverse and it's still being defined. But one thing that we are clear about is this is the best deck. It is. It's already asserted itself a long time ago as one of the best. I always have Pendulum Magicians in second place, but they're in first place now because Spiral was like not doing as good as them. But I just feel like Droll and Ash are still insane in the mirror match. Ashing Pendulum Call, like that's why I don't agree with what people say. Like I don't just take what people say to me and just run with it, right? When like people say, oh, Ash is a bad card, do you think I'm just gonna take that and just stop playing Ash in my main deck just because what other people saying? No, because a lot of the Pendulum Magician deck lists are playing Pendulum Call like at 2 and 3, and you Ash the Pendulum Call, that's an immediate neg 2. Like, I feel like that's still important. Like, Ash is insane. So, I think we've wasted enough time explaining why we main Ash and Droll. Droll rapes the mirror match. Like, you basically win the mirror. It becomes free. And Droll rapes the Draco deck, like, because they just do pure searching. And Droll rapes Trickstars. Like, it rapes so many decks. It's crazy. So, that's a lot of monsters. And then the spells, which, starting off with the starter cards, we play 2 Dragon Shrines and 1 Foolish Burial. This is just to make your Electrum faster, right? You're going to see a lot of 2/2/2s for my spells. 2 Duelist Alliance, 2 Pendulum Call. These are all your engine cards. These are all your starters. They can be considered follow-ups, but Shrine is an absolute starter. Like, you have to start with it, or it's not going to be as good mid to late game, depending on what your field's looking like. Foolish is really flexible. I like it. It's clutch utility. That's why I wouldn't cut it, honestly. And I wanted to play 3 Duelist Alliance. But ultimately, it came down to this. I was going to do 3 Duelist Alliance and 1 Pendulum Call because I was like, I really want to see my trap because I still feel like this card's insane. Like, I don't think it's correct to be cutting it. But I was like, you know what? Instead of 3 Duelist Alliance, which is a hard once per turn, we're just going to do 2/2/2/2. So if you notice what we're doing with the spells is all the hard once per turn effects, we're playing 2 of them. versus like 3. Like I told you guys in the beginning of the video, I just wanted to build this deck to not brick like ever. We need it to always be good. Like every hand has to be good. And then for your draw power, we play 3 Allure, 2 Pot of Desires, and the 1 trap is 1 time Pendulum Graph. Now, I still feel like it's correct to play this because this trap is insane. Like, this is one of the reasons why this deck was always good. And when you add in, you know, factor in all the power that Electrum gives to the deck and all the things that he allows you to do, the cool, nifty tricks, enabling you to do more than Pendulum Magician's ever to do, and still factoring that you can still, like, when you factor in all of that and then the fact that you can still make Omega Baguska trap, like, the deck is just crazy. Like, it's so much more that it can do now than ever before. So I feel like you gotta play the trap and you have to play the Duelist Alliance. That's just me though. So that's the list. The main deck, of course. I'm really satisfied with it. I feel like there's nothing much I would cut. If you're wondering about Wisdom Eye was breaking for me a lot because of course, yeah, he conflicts with Pendulum Call, but the main thing was I'm not playing that many Magicians, right? And if I factor in like 3 Wisdom Eye and like 2 Oath, my Magician lineup still isn't like fat enough. Like, my thing was I was drawing Wisdom Eye all the time without Magicians, and after, like, without Magicians, he's just a 5 scale, and I don't like 5 scales. I like 8 scales and 1 scales. So he's just, I don't know why, like, he is bricking. If you have like no problems with bricking with Wisdom Eye, you should play him. But like, I didn't cut him because, oh, I think he's bad. Wisdom Eye is actually insane. Triggering your Astro and your Chronograph from hand, that's insane. But you have all these engine cards now that like he kind of just conflicts. That's another thing why I'm playing just the 1 Oath, because like I hated opening with Oath. Like, you don't always have Pendulums now. Like, it kind of sucks. But now that he's Oath Dragon searchable off Pendulum Call, I think it's fine to have one, and you get all your resources back from your extra deck to your hand with the Electrum. So as long as you can get the 1 Oath out of your deck before your Desires, you're totally fine. To me, that's just me. Personal preference, totally up to you, however you want to play it in ratios. Extra deck, finally got my 2nd Electrum, thank God. We're playing 2 Electrum. I'm not doing that crazy stuff where you're like, oh, let's spit out all 3 of our Electrums first turn. Pray that you don't break our board, but if you do, guess what? You have literally no resources left. You have 1 or 2 cards left in hand, and you burnt through all of your best extra deck plays. So, like, that's just silly to me. Like, that is literally the definition of overcommitting. Like, that's very unhealthy, and it's not very smart. Like, I just don't think it's smart to commit so much first turn, especially when you don't know what you're playing. Like, I've been preaching that heavily for a minute. 1 Metaltron and 1 Borload. Borload's just insane. Not only outing like Masterpiece and really weird stuff, but taking your opponent's stuff in the mirror match is really good, because like anything he takes in the mirror match is going to be a benefit to you because they play the same cards as you. So it might be a card that you needed and you didn't have access to it, and you're like, Borload's going to get it for me. And just the Link 4 in general, it helps because like sometimes you get hand trapped, right? And then you end up having an awkward feel where they're like, dang, like I know they're saying Baguska's not a thing, but sometimes I have to make Baguska and pass because like I got multiple hand traps hit me, like an Ash and a Joe, or like Ash and Ogre, or Ogre and Valor, and it's like, dang, man, like you're killing me, Smalls. You got to make the Baguska, you know, and sometimes it'll clog your extra monster zone. So you'll be like, dang, I got to get rid of this Baguska. I have all these plays. So like, you make the board load, which is really easy to do, believe it or not. You just make the board load, clear it up. I feel like I should be playing an Underclock Taker because it came up today, but it only came up once in playtesting. So I'm like, I feel like even though it came up once, like it has to come up enough for it to be worth the slot in such a tight extra deck. So the 4 links, you can play 3 Electrums. It's up to you. And then 2 Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. Now, the funny thing is, even though I'm playing 2 of this, I'm not playing any rank 8s in my extra deck. Like, this goes in tandem with what I've been clearly stating the entire duration of the video. I don't believe in overcommitting all your resources to make this board that your opponent is not supposed to break. I even broke the board playing like Herald of Perfection, right? This guy committed everything and I broke that board. Like, I don't think that it's smart. Like, if you have the resources to make 2 of this and then overlay it into 1 rank 8, you could have made a board load. You could have made Sarios just Skull Dread. Use Skull Dread to draw 4 cards. You could have made so many other plays versus committing so much resources to make 1 negate. And it's cute. It's so adorable putting a negate next to a negate and having like multiple forms of disruption. But you can get that with this deck without blowing through so much of your resources and just wasting cards in general. So no, I don't think that Titanic Galaxy is worth the resources. I'm not saying he's a bad card because he's really insane, but I feel like he's not worth the commitment. Not turn 1, maybe like turn 2 or 3, you know, like if you have to go through these, going second, playing through a board, and then you don't want to end on these, you want to overlay them and get more value, that's fine. But I don't think that the Titanic is like worth it, in my opinion. Like, again, you know, everybody's different. So some people are just going to follow the trend. They're like, everybody's playing Titanic, I'm going to play Titanic. That's totally fine. But I like 2 of them because it's 2 more Electrums. Of course, the interaction's there when you Omega back your Electrum that got cherries, and you just use him to copy Electrum. And in the mirror match, and believe it or not, this card wins the Dino matchup just inherently. They do Conductor, and you're just like, all right, tribute those, summon him, copy your Conductor, pop my Purple Poison, pop another one of your cards, book everything, and then let's go for Piercing. Or just use him, send the Conductor directly to the grave, inflict 1,000, then Pierce on everything else. Really insane. Just like he's like a meta-defining card. And Vortex is just, you know, he comes with the package deal, so you gotta play him because he's a great card. I played 3 Synchros, Supreme King, Dragon, Clearwing, Ignister, and Omega. I actually really very badly, I want to play, what's his name? The level 8 Synchro, his name's Enlightenment Paladin. I was playing him in my other Pendulum Magician list. You guys can check that out too. That list was out before Double Iris and Joker got banned. So you check that out. Of course, you're going to see different cards, different extra deck slots and all that. But yeah, these are just the 3 Synchros. This card's insane. It's honestly the best one. This is so good in the mirror matches only. But just having access to non-targeting and non-destroying disruption, removal is great. So like the Magician extra deck is so unique because obviously it makes cards that no other deck can make except itself. And Omega is just good. Like when you're playing games 2 and 3, people cite spear molds. So like you want to make this game 2 or 3 so that they can't spear mold you. And if they got the Lava Golem, they got it, right? But you still got to at least Omega a card out, and you know this is coming back for the follow-up. So yeah, so far so good right there. I'm really satisfied with that. The XYZs, we're playing Vortex, Naruto, Baby Puska, which we call Syphilis, Time Star, and Nightmare. So notice how like we don't have Tornado, Dweller, all kinds of extra deck choices. My extra deck's really tight, and I'm on the fence about so many cards. Like I still want to play Enlightenment Paladin, right? And like I still want to play Tornado Dragon. I want to play Underclock Taker. I have all these cards that I want to play. But ultimately, I feel like I wanted to have cards that are good turn 1 and also good going second, right? And so I dedicated slots in my extra deck for both. So this is obviously powerful turn 1. They still, like they sleeping on Baguska. He's still good. A lot of the Pendulum Magicians are cutting Decode from their list. And Decode will be the one way that they would like get over him. Because like they would just, you know, make Electrum and then push and then like go into a Link 3, right? But now since they're playing Zephyr Metatron, in order to play through the Baguska, they have to go Electrum and then Electrum plus another extra deck monster, then go into Zephyr Metatron and pray that you don't have the trap. So I think he's still good in the mirror match. And in general, he beats like Trickstars. He inherently beats so many decks like Dinos, like just lose to this. You just make this, turn everything off. Just such a savage. I still think he's correct to play. I was already playing Nightmare before the ban list happened, because I just think that he's good to just hit an entire Pendulum summon. Locking out the extra monster zone is insane. He's just such a good card against a lot of decks. Believe it or not, he's strong against Lightsworns. If they don't have Snow, just book a Moon to Minerva. You know, lock their extra monster zone. Like he's so diverse. He hits like every deck that's not Draco's. He's just really, really strong. And I still think Time Star is correct, especially Black Fang back to Time Star to have that protection for your scales. That search, the grind game synergy is there. These come as a package deal. I feel like they're just too good. And also notice how I'm not main decking Wavering Eyes. Now, the reason why I'm not main decking Wavering Eyes is because every Pendulum Magician player that I've been running across, they're playing Pendulum Call like crazy. And you can never Wavering Eyes if they're under Pendulum Call. And they're also, when they're not Pendulum Calling, they're leaving like one scale or no scales. Nobody is dumb enough these days to ever make a board and leave a complete scale on field. Like they're just asking for you to bait their negate and Wavering Eyes them and break their board. So because people are playing around Wavering Eyes, which is smart, I just feel like it's a waste of a card to main deck. But you can contradict that and, you know, give me your own reason. That's totally fine. Now let's hop into the side deck. 3 evenly matched, 2 Raw Spear molds, and 2 Lava Golem. I like the flexibility of both. Because, like I said, people are smart. Games 2 and 3 with their Pendulums, they're going to make Omega and make sure that they don't control 3. So I side in both of these so that I have the 50-50 chance to hit their board either way and just play through the negates. And then you still play the Kaiju, so you inherently side in all of these going second against like almost every deck that's Pendulum Magicians and like Lightsworn, stuff like that, spammy decks like, you know, War Chalice is a thing, right? You can still Spear mode War Chalice. Then we got Board Wipes. We've got Barriers. Barriers pretty good as well, just against so many different decks. And this is my spice. All right, y'all. You guys know that I normally have some goo that I try to keep to myself until I feel like the time is right to release it. So this is my new spicy tech. This card, I was looking at it through a lot of my just cards that I have laying around, and my homeboy Rob gave me the third. He's a teammate. So this card, I picked it up and read it one day, and I was just like, okay, this is just insane. Why is no Pendulum Magician player running this card? Like, I seen all the YCS Atlantas and all the YCS Bosch or whatever, Boschum, however you pronounce it. No Pendulum Magician players are playing this card. And I read them, I'm like, this is a magician. Are you kidding me? So I have to read this effect to you. Like, all right, I already know after I read this and people see this video, people are going to start playing this. But remember, it came from me. This is 100% my idea. This is my goo, my spice. So this card literally breaks any board, right? I'll read it to you. So his scale effect states, you cannot Pendulum summon monsters except for the extra deck because he's a scale 12, of course. This effect cannot be negated. Now, each player applies one of these effects based on the number of set Speller Traps in their Speller Trap zone. So you have to have a set up to a certain number, right? If each player has 0 Speller Traps in their set in their Speller Trap zone, all monsters they control cannot attack or activate their effects. So what that means, if I have 0 sets, my monsters cannot attack or activate their effects. And if my opponent has 0 sets, his monsters cannot attack and they cannot activate their effects. If your opponent, you or your opponent have 4 or more, the attack of all your monsters become double their original. We don't care about that. We care about the first effect. It says if you control no set spells or traps, you're literally under a true king of all calamities as long as this card's on the field. And you have to set a spell or trap from your hand in order to turn this card off. So inherently, that's a way to play around it, right? But we're not playing this card to go first and activate it as a floodgate. We're actually using this to break every board going second. And I'll read you its monster effect, then I'll tell you how I use this to win like every duel. So it says if either player sets a spell or trap on your field while this card's in your graveyard, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone. So how I play this, when you're going second against the mirror or just any deck that puts up multiple forms of disruption first turn, you literally activate this before you do anything. And if they read it and they're smart, they'll negate it. But when they negate it, the problem is it'll go to the grave, right? Then you'll set one of your spells or traps from your hand, which we play a lot of spells and a lot of, a lot of good spells. You'll set one, put them back into the scale, and then you'll activate that spell. Use this effect. Now you control no sets again. So as long as you can keep this with no sets, their Vortex, their Naruto, their Jackal King, their Firewall Dragon, none of them can activate their effects. Like, it's just lackluster. They literally, their 4 negates turn into 0. Like, and basically, if they don't negate this, they can't negate anything. So they'll have to keep negating this. And this literally just baits every negate. Like, this is the only thing they can negate. But basically, you activate it, and you turn all their negates off. You make your board, and when you're ready for your monster effects to turn on, you simply set one of your spells. Use your monster effects, and whenever you're ready, you can turn everything back off. So it's really powerful going second. And because Pendulum Magician's deck is just all spells, right? It's all like literally scales. Like I meant to say scales, not spells. Like when they make their board, unless they have Time Pendulum Graph set down and don't activate it at all, they can't activate anything. Like their whole board is frozen. Like none of their negates matter. This card is insane, and it's a magician. So guess what? It's searchable. Through Pendulum Call, if you play Wisdom Eye, you can literally Wisdom Eye and scale this up because it's a magician. So my question is, Pendulum Magician players, now that I've introduced you to this spice, why were you not playing this before? I'm sure we're gonna see some stuff like, oh, I already knew this card exists, blah 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 blah. Yeah. All right, why was nobody playing it? I won so many games off of this card alone. Like this is my goo, man. Like this card, dude. I'm telling you, I was telling my teammates, like I was hyping this card up, right? I'm like, watch. I'm gonna wait a minute. I'm not gonna tell nobody about it, and I'm gonna see if people knew about it and we're playing it, right? And I'm like, okay, nobody's playing it. Well, I'm gonna be the first to just put it out there, right? So it's just insane. Like this card should be banned. It's that good. Like it's just the best floodgate. So yeah, that concludes the deck profile, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I tried my hardest to bring the spice, but at the same time, still make the deck competitive and viable. I really am enjoying this list, and this is like the best card of the format. Just check it out, y'all. But remember, it came from your boy 3 Stacks. Don't let somebody lie to you and say that it did it. Peace out, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and get some sleep, and you'll be hearing from me soon.